Welcome back to 101 East. This week, we're looking at how India's poor children are being sold so their families can survive. Some Indian mothers have turned surrogacy into a money-making industry. Yalda Hakim reports on India's baby factories.
After years of failed IVF treatment, Colin and Bal Pierpoint from Britain are about to be introduced to their 4-day-old baby daughter for the first time.
I don't think I have the words. It's a dream come true. A lifelong dream. I've always wanted to be a mom. And it's eluded me. Yes, please. Thank you. Oh, look at you. Aren't you gorgeous? It was a very long time I wanted to be a mom. Lots of prayer, lots of disappointments, lots of a roller coaster ride, which that little thing there now is about to change for me.
The Pierpoints are the genetic parents. They supplied both egg and sperm. But for the last 9 months, this tiny baby has grown in the womb of another woman. One of a small army of surrogate mothers who live here in a virtual baby factory growing embryos for wealthy Western women.
Yeah, that's the baby. This is the heart sound, the heart of the baby.
Dr. Naina Patel runs the program with her husband, Dr. Hitesh Patel.
Surrogacy is meant for those people or for those ladies whose uterus cannot carry a child. Rather, they have a chronic disease, or they might have had hysterectomy, or their child must have died, or absence of uterus, or many failures of IVF.
There are more than 50 women who live here for the term of their pregnancies. They're apparently well looked after and receive regular medical checks. Inside the house, I meet 18-year-old Vanna. She has already had 3 children of her own and, like many women here, has spent her entire life living in a slum. She's afraid to show her face, fearing that someone from her village may see her and think she's involved in something shameful. The doctor says Vanna will receive a payment of about $7,000 US. That's more money than she has ever seen, and a way out of India's poverty trap. It would take her husband about 15 years to earn as much.
फिक्स करना है और बच्चों के भी पढ़ाई करना है ना, पढ़ाई करनी है, थोड़ा बैंक में मुकेंगे, पढ़ाई के लिए थोड़ा करेंगे.
Whoever wants to become a surrogate, she should be married. She must have delivered 1, 2 or 3 healthy children at full term. She should be willing to accept our surrogacy program, and psychologically also we assess how the lady is, whether she will carry, she is mentally or psychologically fit enough to go through this program.
The clinic may be attracting good news stories, but commercial surrogacy is a controversial procedure, raising profound moral, ethical and legal questions, and customer satisfaction certainly isn't guaranteed.
I start going and I'll follow you. All right. This is Dr. Naina Patel's hospital, IVF hospital in Anand, Gujarat.
This is Lisa Dixit, an American woman filmed by her husband in a home video, ultimately meant for their surrogate child.
All right, good luck. Pray to God. This is your mother after egg retrieval. So when you're born, you're going to see what your mother had to go through. All right, go ahead.
Diagnosed with uterine cancer, Lisa Dixit was prepared to try surrogacy.
So ironically, a week after my diagnosis, I saw a program on Oprah with a couple that had the same problem as I did in conceiving and being able to afford surrogacy.
At the Patel's clinic, they met the young woman who was selected to carry their baby for the next 9 months, the surrogate mother.
Right.
She's my surrogate, and these are my 3 children.
But things went downhill from here. The Dixits say they were quoted a price of $11,500 for IVF and the surrogacy. But as Al Dixit found out when he got to India, there were more and more costs that he says hadn't been mentioned.
We were told that he's going to charge us a certain amount, and then when we went there, it nearly doubled. Right. And right that same day, we were like, I was ready to walk out. But then it's a very emotional thing, and you know, she was upset, she started crying, and I said, okay, we'll somehow manage it. So then that's when we decided to carry on with it.
Egg retrieval day.
The Dixits claim they were never adequately told why their costs had doubled to almost $20,000. The Patels reject the Dixit accusations. Naina Patel writes that they informed them of the IVF charges, but in relation to additional costs...
Normally we explain them in advance, but because we tried to call them very fast, it was missed.
But worse was in store for this increasingly desperate couple. Not only had their costs skyrocketed, but after returning home, they were informed that the surrogacy had failed. The eggs implanted in the surrogate mother had not taken.
For me, it's been very emotional for me. I've been having a very hard time, you know, throughout this whole process.
When the Dixits approach a US doctor about their situation, they say they were told the Patel surrogacy procedure had no chance of success.
He just took a look on his computer with the CD, and when he saw the size of the eggs and the size of the embryo, and he said they should have waited at least 2 more days to plant them. And he says, as it is, there was no chance of it happening.
Again, the clinic rejects this, saying Lisa Dixit was
repeatedly very well counselled about their chances.
And
each clinic will have its own protocol on embryo transfer.
This whole thing makes me sick.
With the Dixits still hurting from their Indian experience, they're now seeking to adopt a child.
We spent all this money in India, you know, hoping that this would really take, and now I come back and I just had my hysterectomy, and obviously I can't have children, and we desperately want to have children, and you know, we're not getting any younger, and I think it's time now that we should adopt, and I'm really worried about, you know, the cost of everything, and I honestly, I don't know how we're going to do it.
And as the commercial surrogacy industry booms, so does the fierce debate that surrounds it.
How can you say the couple is exploiting the female when that female willingly wants to do it? Okay? You can call it exploitation when somebody is forcing. You cannot force surrogacy like any other organ transplant or organ this thing, because it's a whole procedure of 1 year, almost 9 months.
Dr. Anuradha Malpani also uses surrogate mothers in his clinic in Mumbai, but disagrees with commercial surrogacy. He says India offers no protection for parents desperately wanting a baby, and even a contract is worthless.
They need to understand that contract is not worth the paper it's written on, because that contract is never going to stand up in a court of law. There is no legal sanctity or validity. Contracts by nature are designed to be disputed, and there is no court which will say, yes, fine, you know, this is the contract which was signed, because Indian law doesn't allow those kind of contracts.
But Dr. Malpani says he understands why the couples who come to India are prepared to cut corners.
People are taking risks, and you know, when you are that desperate, then I think, you know, your logical side of the brain doesn't function as well as the creative side, so to say. And of course you take shortcuts, and you know, because you do things out of desperation.
These are the children.
Dr. Patel, though, accuses her critics of hypocrisy.
The maximum number of surrogacy cases are being done in the US, and that also for couples from Europe, because in Europe most of the countries surrogacy is not allowed. So European couples fly off to US and do surrogacy. I have never heard people say that the Europeans are exploiting American females or Americans are outsourcing wombs to European couples. Why then it comes to India? Why do you say so?
While the surrogacy debate continues, the Pierpoints will return to Britain, ecstatic about their new baby and the start of their new life.
That's all the time we have for this edition of 101 East. Thanks for watching.